So welcome back all. We have our next speaker, Pradesh. So Pradesh is a certified Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt, and he is currently working as a managing partner of the Lean Six Sigma company Asia Pacific. He has over 15 years of working experience holding senior management positions across many sectors such as apparel, chemical, and automobile. Pradesh today will be taking a session on gamification of the Lean Six Sigma. So his topic of keynote is play to learn, game-based learning for Lean Six Sigma practitioners, how to use Lego for Lean Six Sigma training. So welcome again, Pradesh. Good morning. And we are looking forward to this engaging session.
Piyush?
The presentation is just getting shared. Just a minute.
So till it is getting loaded, yeah, welcoming you all. This is a very interesting topic I'm going to cover today. So it's about play to learn. I'm sharing my own experience when it comes to Lean Six Sigma training. So I myself is a trainer, so I have lots of experience in this area. So I'm going to share with you, like, the challenges I face, and so what were the initiatives I have taken. So one key initiative is about this game-based learning or teaching technique. So that is what I'm going to cover today. Piyush, moving on. So today's agenda, let me share with you. So firstly, I will give you a brief understanding of this, what is this Lean Six Sigma is about. I'm pretty sure, like, so you have heard of it and you have experienced it, but it's my responsibility to take you through Lean Six Sigma very briefly. And the next component is about the key challenges I have faced during my training career when it comes to Lean Six Sigma training, of course. And the third part is the most important component. It's about the game we have introduced. It's called Lego game. So we will discuss more on that. And finally, I will end up with some useful tips for you to consider. So let's move on and see what is Lean Six Sigma. So I'll start with the lean methodology. So if you play this, now there's a nice animation here. You can see here, it's a process between, you can take it, any business process. It may be a manufacturing process or it may be a service process. Whatever the process, you see this strip, like, from your supplier to the customer. Between them, you have the process. In the process, if you look at it, you have two main components. One is value added. So the real business value addition in your process to your customer. Then the second component is the majority or the bulk of it, which we call as non-value adding activities or inefficiencies in the process, or in lean language, waste. So I would say most of the processes, if you look at, less than 10%. Some of the processes, it is actually less than 1% is value adding activities. And on the other side, more than 90% is coming from non-value adding activities. Let's run this video and see what happens. So if you run this, moving on. So you can see in lean approach, what we do is we eliminate or reduce these inefficiencies or the waste in the process. So then what happens is you have only the value adding activities, then automatically So you can reduce the process lead time as well as operational cost. You can drastically reduce. So that is lean approach. So let's discuss about Six Sigma. Moving on. Six Sigma is about problem solving. And before that, one more thing. Now, when it comes to this lean, there are like, several tools we are using. Very interesting, simple set of tools. Now you can see here in this picture, just to name some of them, 5S, the CPOC, value stream mapping, business process mapping, spaghetti diagrams, and some concepts and some approaches like, the root cause analysis tools like Fishbone, 5Eyes. There are many others. So these tools are very simple. And one common thing is about, lots of visual management is used in these tools. Okay, moving on to the next part, it's about Six Sigma. Six Sigma is, is the next level where you use data. And one important concept you're talking about, that's variance. Sigma is all about variance reduction because customer feels variation. So it's a systematic approach. Through this systematic approach, you bring consistency to the process. So, or as in other words, lowering the variance, that means more quality to the process and the customer. So that is Six Sigma approach. And let's see what is the Six Sigma to the methodologies. The next slide, we have the Six Sigma methodology. So it is DMEC, you have heard of. So DMEC approach. Various set of systematic tools are there. You define the problem, then you quantify the problem, and you set your goals in measure. Yeah, so can we have the details of it? So then, yeah, moving on. So you define the problem, and so measure, you quantify the problem. There are a set of tools and techniques for that, and you set your goals. And in the analysis, yeah, keep on moving. And the analysis, you do the brainstorming and finding out the potential root causes and the significant root causes of it, and find your solutions, and you implement them and you sustain them. So that is what Six Sigma methodology is about. So now you can get an understanding, good understanding in this lean Six Sigma approach, and especially to train, right? It's not that easy because it's a technical subject. You are teaching a technical subject to professionals, right? All are not in the same mindset or same level of knowledge. Some are new to the subject, some are with experience, and their understanding also different, and the learning methods also different. So likewise, there are so many challenges as a trainer. So I have highlighted here some of the key challenges you face when it comes to Lean Six Sigma training. So one is obviously the complexity of the concepts you're trying to teach, especially when it comes to Six Sigma, data-driven approach, right? It takes time. You need to put some effort. If you follow, the conventional way of training. Then the other is the practical application. This is something like, the participants are always expecting. So we learn something, how we can apply it when it comes to practical situation, going back to their workstation. So then the third part is very important. So you need to ensure the engagement, and you need to motivate people as a trainer. And so the fourth part is about learning styles. There are, different people are wired differently. So their learning styles are totally different. Some are like, just when you explain something, like, they will learn it. They will understand it. They will absorb it. But for some, like, you need to give some examples. You need to show scenarios. Then only they will understand. So other key, the last but not least, so it's about the time management. Time management is very important because you are given a limited time. Within that limited time, you should ensure the content being delivered, and the participants will understand what you have delivered. So these challenges are there. I also faced as a trainer. So, and our organization, the Lean Six Sigma company, so came up with a brilliant solution to this. It's game based. teaching techniques or simulation based. So this is one key approach we have taken, and let's see what is that. So in the next slide, so the tool or approach. So here you can see we all have like a different approaches, as I mentioned you earlier. So you need to come up with a different approach. So that different approach is the Lego game, which we have initiated. You can see that. So this Lego game. Let me explain you about this Lego game. Moving on. So there are certain, the steps. So we are following in this Lego game, very interesting game. So I would say overall, like, everyone is enjoying this game, right? So with results. So we were able to communicate what we wanted really. So there are 6 steps: preparation, then the preparation and briefing. The second, then running the current process, as is process, theoretical knowledge sharing, team brainstorming, and solution implementation, and discussing the results. These are the steps, key steps we follow. So let's discuss them in detail. The first is about preparation and briefing. For any initiative, you need to have preparation. Preparation is very important. So even here in this approach also, so you need to have that. So let's discuss. So what is this preparation and briefing about this Lego game? Yeah, moving on. So here, 3 steps are there. The first is about the tools. What we do is we create a scenario in the classroom. In this Lego game, we actually create a production or a service process in the classroom. So for that, we need to have some tools. So those tools. Okay, here one thing is, now I'm explaining in this session the tools or the techniques we are using for this particular Lego game. Now, what you need to understand from this is that if you are developing something like this, what are the things you can take and how you can align to it. So these things. So I'm sharing here. So tools. Firstly, you need to identify what are the tools you need. Even the smaller ones like scissor or sellotape tape. Everything you need to figure out, list them down, and your client. With the client, you need to share well in advance, so then they can come prepared for it. Whoever the team facilitating it, especially the logistics side of it, you need to in advance share all these things. Then the second is you need to have a proper layout. So yeah, the second part, the layout, clear layout, that also you share with the client, and in advance set up that layout. Now you can see here in this picture, this particular Lego game. So there are some workstations. So these workstations being set up. So when we come to the training, we have everything being set up. So that will save your time. Then the third part is, once we start the program, so you need to give a good briefing. So third, moving on. Yeah, so this briefing, one advice I can give you is you can have an instruction sheets, printed instruction sheets. Now here it's actually role-based game. There are different roles. We define those roles and their instruction, or simply in our language, job descriptions. Job descriptions you can share with them and brief them. Right? That's about this briefing part. Very important part. So this will ensure smooth run without having any hiccups. Right, moving on. So let's see that second part. Now everyone is geared to it. No confusions or anything. Then the second is about, now we can run the game. We can run the show. So here, our approach is, firstly, the current process running. Show them, let them experience the current process without any the improvements. So you create the scenario, let them play it, and so the whole purpose is for them to understand the issues there, or the challenges, or for them to convince them that the current process is not workable. it is with full of inefficiencies. So let them experience that. That is the whole purpose of this as-is process. Now here you can see it's actually like, you know, you can have a competition also. Now here you can see here in this picture, now the first person is just, you know, thinking very hard, you know, trying to figure out things. And you can see the picture below here, the last picture. So he is inundated with work, you know, work in balance. You know, when it comes to lean concepts, those are there. Some are creating bottlenecks, some are idling. So all these you can, you know, reflect in this game. That is how we have developed this simulation, right? So then they have pretty much realized the current process is not working. There are full of issues there because ultimately they can't meet the customer deliveries on time in full. I'm talking about, right? So then we can move to the next stage. Very important one. Next slide. So the next slide is about now the time for us to, now they are all like, you know, they are with us in the same page. Now they want to improve the current process because the current process is not workable for them. So now it's a good platform for us to teach them the Lean Six Sigma theory concepts or tools, because now they are ready to listen to us. So now they have that interest. Now we can teach them, like, you know, one by one, the key concepts of Lean Six Sigma, right? So now here you can see the in the pictures, like, you know, these pictures, we are, you know, teaching them the concepts, maybe the 8 waste, you know, small, and the Six Sigma concepts and approaches you can take, and all these things in a very summarized way you can explain. So now they have the knowledge as well. Now they have the experience, knowledge, both. Then we can take the next initiative. So what is this? Is a real, you know, treat for them. Brainstorming session, teamwork. All the participants will try to solve the problem. So moving on. Here you can see the tools we are using now. These Lean Six Sigma tools. You can, you know, let them to experience there. On their own, they will do them. Like, you know, for an example, value stream mapping, process mapping, and some brainstorming activities, like, you know, fishbone, because it's one problem they all are trying to resolve. This is a practical problem we have taken in the classroom. They have experienced it. Like, you know, now they have the need for improvement. So it's not just listening to something. Like in hands-on experience you get here, it's one scenario flowing down. So there can be several arguments there. So you can encourage them for them to have this discussion, open discussions. Finally they will improve. Now here you can see here in the first picture, it's a, you know, process mapping you do that Lego game, but they have experience. Now then you can play the role of the coach. You know, you can give some tips or some, you know, guidelines, but you are not giving answers. Let them figure out the answers. So then final picture, you can see the improved process. They have taken out certain inefficient activities there and streamlined process. All convinced. All are in one picture finally. Now they are ready to roll it out. Okay, so moving on to the next slide. So next stage, it's about the implementation part. So brainstorming is over. Now solution implementation. Now the improved or the identified process they are going to implement. So now here we have a small video. Piyush, can we run it? Now you can see here improved process. They change the layout, and you know, the certain activities being dropped, and they have balanced the line here. Now you can see here it's a competition between two factories or like in two teams competing each other with their own improvements. They can bring, like, you know, new concepts, lean concepts there. So this is a Lego game, like, you know, they are actually building products, Lego products. The video is a little slow, but I hope you can understand the concept there. So that is what their own improved process, they are running it in the classroom. Okay, so next slide. So you have some pictures also, and right, I think you are rerunning the video again. It's the same video, maybe. Yeah, you can see the people are making Lego. Now certain activities being taken out. Then there are some people for value-adding activities they can bring down. So you can see here. Okay, so this like another set of pictures, another location. Now, so you see, now they have their own plans with the knowledge they have gathered during the program and this process mapping and all that. So they have their own solutions. They, during the classroom, they implement them and see the results as well. Okay, so moving on. Now they have implemented. Now another very important area as a trainer. So you need to discuss the results. You need to tell them, or like prove them that these concepts are something like workable with results. So you need to show them the results as well. So very important stats. Develop some dashboards. Now here in this game, we have developed dashboards as well. Now, so we need to show them this is actually using PNL. PNL also linked to this, making profits. They realize, Lean or Six Sigma concepts will help the organization to make profits. In this small simulation or in this game, so they make profits also. Now in the first chart, it is that earlier they were loss making. The first round, the first round is as is process running. Second round is with the developments. Now, if you can see it, so you may see that first round they make losses, huge losses. Then the second round they make here actually two teams. Both the teams made profits, and the other parameters or other KPIs also. All KPIs are here in this game, in this little game. So inventory turnaround, the process lead time, the products per employee, all these key KPIs been shown here. So then they realize this is something practical. They can go back to the organization and implement. It's not just a theory session. Now you in the classroom you learn something and next day you forget. That never will happen. If you run something like this, that is something you can ensure. It's always take home. There's a take home, right? Moving on. So overall, so I think you got a good understanding of this, and there are some tips I would like to share with you. So the first thing is about always now we have picked in this Lego game production process. You can create a scenario like this. It has to be something they have experienced, maybe a bank process. We also have another game called mortgage game. So create something like that, very practical, closer to them. So it doesn't have to be their own process, but something they have seen, they have experienced every day. Then the flexibility is very important. Now in our game, we can accommodate, maybe from 10 to 30 number of people, depending on the crowd. So that flexibility is there. And so we can create roles also accordingly. And if they bring up a certain problem they want to address, that also you can link to it. So that much flexibility you need to have this if you are developing a tool like this. And pre-preparation, I showed you, very important. And the time, you need to be careful with the time also. Now in our game, maximum 3 to 4 hours within, so you can complete. Now all what I have showed with you. So it's a half a day session. You can't drag it any longer. So because there's a time people can absorb it. Once you exceed that time, the amount they can absorb is less. To be honest, we have run this game even after lunch. As a trainer, that's the most challenging part. After the lunch session, running a game is really challenging. But here, so I got 100% participation from everyone. So because that much this game is interesting, and data-driven approach, always link data into this, comparison, because nowadays we are talking about data. Team participation is something you always should encourage. Maybe a competition between 2 teams or 3 teams. Likewise, let them create, let them have the competition, because in the real world also they compete with each other, the organizations. Right. Yeah. So that's about from my end. So I hope you have enjoyed what I have shared with you. And so my own experience, this is. So my advice is, this is something we have, our organization has developed, but with this content, or what you have gathered here, you can, develop your own game or the simulation. So that's my advice. So make it something very interesting. So it will be very easier for you to communicate what you want to communicate to the participants. Yeah, Piyush.
Thank you so much, Pradesh, for the engaging session. It's well proven that gamification of anything, it is very important, and it can result in better engagement, improved information retention, improved collaboration, improved teamwork, as you mentioned. So I would encourage our audience participants to post their questions here into Pradesh if they have any. Meanwhile, I have a question for you, Pradesh. Is there any, Lean Six Sigma is a proven thing with even the best of organizations, like Toyota uses it, 3M uses it, Amazon, the likes of General Electric, they use it. And you were talking about gamification of Lean Six Sigma for a better understanding through Lego. So is there any alternate method apart from Lego that you use, to promulgate the theories of Lean Six Sigma?
Yes, it's a good question. Also, I think during my presentation also I highlighted about it. Now this game is very useful if you are addressing, or if you are doing your training for a manufacturing organization. Doesn't mean that you can't play this service sector. When it comes to service sector, you can create another, a different game. Now, for an example, we are having a game called mortgage game, service sector people. So then they can understand, because that's their own language, that's their language. Accordingly you can have, but the concepts are same. That's my advice. Stick to the concepts, but you can create a different scenario with it. So that's what we do. So that is my advice also. Have some flexibility into your game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so a bit of, the concepts remain the same, and with a bit of customization, things and the same concepts can be relied upon for different sectors.
Yeah, so just to add one thing now, because since you mentioned about the concept, so means now here what we do is you run the as-is process, then you go to the drawing board, and you map the process, and you do brainstorming, fishbone and all this, brainstorming. Then you implement. The concepts are same, and the challenges also same actually. For the customer, you have a customer has certain targets, expectations. In the previous, as-is process, you are not meeting the customer expectations. Now there's a need for improvement. That's why you go back to the board, you do the improvements with your knowledge, Lean Six Sigma, and you meet the customer expectations while making profit. So that is simply about the Lean Six Sigma. Yeah, you stick to it.
Certainly. And you also mentioned the session it should be near about 3 to 4 years. I'm sure because of gamification, there is very increased participation. Like you mentioned, for an instance, that after lunch, you're training a team, and there was 100% attendance. So how many such sessions does it take? Such sessions of 3 to 4 hours does it take to observe change in the team that has been participating in training?
I hope I have understood your question. The way I understood, like you're asking about the number of participants, right? In a session.
No. I mean, one session is of 3 to 4 hours. So how many such sessions would be required to, get a substantial change that we observe in the team? I mean, how they work as a team together.
Okay, so right, this is how we work. Now, firstly, it's about the knowledge share. No, before you implement or run in a project, knowledge sharing is what matters now. So now here, this game is the key component about this knowledge sharing. Giving them tools and techniques. Now, the traditional way of training these tools and techniques is conducting a training program. So now here, our the approach is, instead of just showing set of slides and teaching them, do an interactive game like this. Let them understand the concepts. At the same time, as I showed you, we are teaching them also. Now they are pretty much convinced about it. So then now, and they have the knowledge also. Then that is what I have talked about, this 3 to 4 hours. That means in half a day session. So after that, then the next segment is about identifying the projects. Then you can start discussing on implementation, project implementation. That is next. Those are the next segments. Now here the key focus is about giving them knowledge, required knowledge for Lean Six Sigma, basic knowledge. So that's the whole purpose of this exercise, 3 to 4 hours. Okay, then so maybe you can talk about A3 projects, PDCAs. You can develop later on. And so actually, you can link those A3s and PDCAs also this Lego game. So that is how we do. When we are running A3 project, we run A3 project referring Lego game, because it is the same scenario.
So it's more of experiential learning in the ongoing process that
we are
provide
proving.
Through yeah.
We will prove, the Lean Six Sigma works through this game. That is what we do.
And moving apart a bit from the gaming side, if we look at the concept of Lean Six Sigma, it's a study of deviation, taking a sample size. It's a study of deviation, and through that we implement a process like the DMAC you were talking about, measuring, analyzing, and things. Nowadays, the situations are so disrupting. Like for instance, if we take supply chain. It is not certain because of global warfare or something in the sea route has got disturbed. So is there any way to tackle those, or Lean Six Sigma through Lean Six Sigma, or there is a study that is going on in your arena and you are going to come up with something?
Okay, right. You're asking about this data part and these disruptions.
Yes.
So that's what, when it comes to these disruptions, the challenges, global challenges, how I see it, I see them as opportunities for organizations, right? When they are especially competing. So whoever ready to change will be the ultimate winner. So now in this Lean Six Sigma techniques also, what teaching them is that, and especially the Six Sigma part. Six Sigma part will help you, because it is about the data. You get data, you analyze data, you can forecast, and so things like that. Even if you look at the DMAC process is to that. So whatever happening around the world, so you are ready to ready to change. And most importantly, when it comes to lean concepts, it's about the flexibility. Now, these disruptions, maybe supply chain disruptions, then the war, inflation, whatever you talk about, unless if you are flexible enough, you can't win it. So lean concepts now, for an example, your inefficiencies. If you can, remove or eliminate your inefficiencies, then only you can be more flexible, your own supply chain. That is very important. Otherwise, just imagine, for an example, if you're having in a huge inventory buildup, I'm just giving you one example. Inventory buildup, maybe some global changes are there. Then, you might have to change your product. What are you going to do with it? You have a huge stock buildup. You can't compete anymore. So you are done. You are dead. So supply chain flexibility is key. I see, like, in future. So you need to be flexible enough. And on the other side, Six Sigma, it's about consistency, reducing your variance, bringing consistency. So if you have this consistency and flexibility in your supply chain, for you, that's the winning formula.
Certainly, got it. So thank you so much for the wonderful session, Pradesh. And I would encourage our audience to get in touch with Pradesh. He's a veteran in the Lean Six Sigma arena. You'll get to you'll get to have a lot of knowledge sharing with him, and even get to learn from him a lot doing that. And thank you again, Pradesh. We look forward to more such sessions in future.
Yeah, thanks, Piyush, and thanks all the participants joining this session. I hope you have enjoyed the session. Thanks a lot.
Certainly. Yeah. Audience.